Here's a story that scientists built an intelligent computer. The first question they asked it was, "Is there a God?" The computer replied, "There is now," and a bolt of lightning struck the plug, so it couldn't be turned off.
Holy shit, that's the most terrifying story I've ever heard.
What is artificial intelligence? Is it such stories as Stephen Hawking just espoused? The type of cautionary tale that is replete in modern-day media. It's not the only tale we hear. Some are about love, hope and cooperation. Regardless of context and scope, the underlying theme is one in which our hubris, entitlement and illusion of control is exposed, and we are duly punished. How does this stack up with the dictionary definition of the field? Does consumable media have its finger on the pulse? Today we examine this question and attempt to draw a line between the plausible and the absurd by delving into some of the tropes these stories tow in their wake like personal baggage. To kick things off, let's start off with the most persistent nightmare in the subgenre, the doomsday scenario.
The doomsday scenario is one that cautions or acts as indictment over our self-destructive greed for resources or unwavering pratfalls when it comes to marrying dangerous emerging technologies with a military-industrial complex. No series does a more terrifying portrayal of this in the case of the AI than the Terminator series. The central antagonist of the series is Skynet, a military defense grid with first-rate capabilities based on predictive analytics. While this projection of computing technology at the time may have seemed ethereal, its descriptions of the neural network and the breakthrough of machine learning makes this action thriller and its sequels eerily predictive. With the advent of the Internet of Things and machine learning that permeates through many of the applications and technologies associated with it, we might yet live in a day where the exponential growth in an artificial neural network may lead to our undoing as it did in the franchise. The scariest means of achieving the nefarious ends of its cold logic is through its infiltration units, the Terminators, an embodied strong AI expert machine that reflects the surface values of human cognition without the emotional baggage, as scary tools in the hands of the most virtuous and morally upstanding individuals, let alone an unthinking group consciousness whose only goal is to save humanity from itself through global genocide. Unfortunately, the strides in research into algorithmic machine learning, data mining, and our state of constant interactivity with each other and our utilities through the Internet of Things, this is a growing possibility rather than a diminishing one. Fortunately, it's one which we saw coming, unlike the likes of nuclear weapons, and the entertainment and insight one can glean from this one example alone is enough to keep us mindful of the potential misfortune we face if we don't err on the side of caution. Through the doomsday scenario, we have managed to cover the fields of expert machines and machine learning. In doing so, we have in part covered 3 of the 4 overarching classes to which they span. There's one last class in the research and development of artificial intelligence that goes beyond consciousness and into sentience. This is known as the self-awareness class. Movies that explore this class of AI get to ask the intriguing question that may become a pressing one as time passes. If a form of AI is fully self-aware, would and should it be granted personhood? The concept of personhood is the quality or condition of being an individual person. The most known means to deduce whether a machine can exhibit the traits of personhood is the Turing test. The test was devised by Alan Turing in the 1950s and is a means to test whether a machine's intelligent behaviour has an equivalence or is indistinguishable from that of a human. The test is usually performed on a computer or terminal via text-based messages between the tester and multiple test subjects to see if they can distinguish human subjects from that of an AI system. Many systems have been tested in the past with only one passing to contentious debate. The computer AI Eugene Gutzman managed to simulate a 13-year-old Ukrainian boy 33% of the time. Technically a pass, but the low threshold of this pass rate raises no debate between 2 camps of thought. One that thinks behaviours and intent indistinguishable from a person warrants the status of personhood, and another camp that argues that just because you create a system that exhibits person-like qualities doesn't mean the machine is a person. A movie called Ex Machina tests these 2 stances by creating a not too distant future where a robot that is able to analyse language and expression and outside stimuli using a cloud network much in the same way but to a greater extent than a real-life counterpart, Sophie the robot, is put to a face-to-face test with a human. While she passes her awareness and seems to exhibit a subjective understanding of the reality of her situation, even a fear of death, it questions if all her emotional output is just an elaborate con to achieve her goals, and in doing so makes us question whether our emotional responses to the world are an essential part of sentience, showing us just how incomplete our own understanding of cognition, consciousness and sentience really is. Thankfully, Sophie the robot's media presence and the fact that she's just recently made history by being the first non-human to be awarded a title by the United Nations, we seem to be going down the right path in this new approach to quality testing, by treating the capabilities of potential emergent AI with the respect and reverence that was lacking in the movie. Thus, when the day does come when AI reaches this level, we might be spared the fate of Eve's creator. So in summation, when it comes to weaponising or creating AI to share an experience and approximation of the human condition, it's clear from the media surrounding the topic that sometimes imagination precedes reality, so we should be mindful of the mirror it holds up, in case we're replaced by an unwelcome reflection.